In this episode of Financial Model Detective, I want to discuss about when is the best time to hire an external firm to do the audit of your project finance model. Okay, so I started writing a blog about this, and then I told myself, let me also make a short video and just discuss this issue with you of when is the best time to hire a financial model audit. And this is just a discussion that I am just thinking out loud. So just bear in mind, throughout this discussion that this is just, that I'm just sharing something that came to my mind that I just want to share it with you. And then if you have any comments and you want to just open the discussion, you are welcome. Okay, so as you know, during the development phase of a project, different stakeholders, mainly sponsors and lenders, they hire different advisors. So sponsors, they hire their technical, legal, tax, insurance, environmental, and sometimes financial advisors. And lenders, when they get engaged into the deal, they also hire their own technical, legal, and tax maybe advisors. And among one of the advisors that the lenders require is the model auditor, which is an external accounting firm which comes and audit the model that was developed by the sponsors or the developer of a project. Before we get into the heart of the topic, let's look at what are the tasks or the main issues throughout the development phase of a project. So we start with the concept stage, which is the idea stage. It is when the developer, one creative developer, one risk taker comes and wants to do a project. And at this stage, it is just, as I say, it's just the concept stage. So they are looking for, once they want to implement this project with that idea, with that intention in mind, they're gonna look for development funding, development capital to invest and do the studies. I would say, in my rational mind, I would say even in that stage when you are negotiating your JDA, your joint development agreement, with the different developers, you need to have a financial model in mind. And all these, terms that you are agreeing among developers, it needs to be based on the cash flow projections. But sometimes we see that, people, they just negotiate contracts based on some typical metrics of 2x, 1x, whatever x, and without even looking at the cash flow projections of the project. But that's another discussion. Okay, so at this idea stage, then we go to it. Once the money is in the hands of a developer, now they can go and hire the advisors. So they're going to hire the technical advisor, legal advisor, so that they can get the studies and get deeper into the project. Okay, at this stage, they will need to develop a more detailed financial model so that they can start negotiating with the different contractors. So most probably, and this financial model will be used for negotiating the EPC contract, the O&M contract, the different terms within these contracts, within LDs, or sometimes even the tariff is coming out from a model or a version of the model. And later it's going to be basically restructured to a model that will be shared with lenders. Okay. Then during the feasibility stage is when the sponsors, the developer, will think about the financing, how they're going to finance this project, which are the lenders that they want to consider. So they're going to contact the lenders, and once they contact the lenders, they need to send a package, right? So in this package, they need to spend the teaser, they need to spend the EPC, they need to spend all the send all the contracts that they have, and among these documents is the financial model and the project information memo and all that, and the financial model. Okay, so a version of the model, which is the lender version, which is will need to be sent to lenders. And lenders, throughout their due diligence, they will review the model, and most probably there will be a different round of comments and Q&A session between the sponsors and lenders on the financial model. And once they agree on the main structure, then they're gonna hire a financial model auditor, as I said, an accounting firm, which gonna come and audit this model. And this is one of the requirements under the financial close. For reaching financial close is a CP, so that the financial model auditor, the external firm, will need to approve this. And then I have another post, and I have actually some my recommendation on what needs to be included in an RFP for hiring a model auditor. That's where I explain exactly the details, or what are the requirements from a model auditor, and what are the things that you need to consider when you're negotiating your contract with the model auditor. So I really recommend you to go and check that out as well. Okay, so as I shown here, you see that the model auditor is engaged in the last stage of the development, just before financial close, during the financing, to approve the project so that the project gets ready for financial close and step into the construction phase. Okay, so what I want to raise here, and I want to just discuss with you, is the timing of this model audit. So imagine this financial model has been used for negotiating the tariff, the contracts, EPC, O&M, and even between the sponsors, between the developer. This model has been used throughout that process. Also, it has been used to negotiate the lending terms. Okay, so all this has been agreed with the different stakeholders. Then, the model is sent to the auditor. So my question is, what if there was a mistake, in the model throughout this stage, and no one picked it up? Let's say that, no one picked it up. Then by the time it gets to the model auditor, all this contrast has been firmed up. The tariff most probably is already an input to the model, is no longer an output. So what's going to happen to that, So that's the thing that I am questioning here about the timing of the audit. And it is just basically, to me, it is an indication that, the process is treating this audit of the financial model just as another, document in a checklist. But the main importance of the audit is to really give confidence to different stakeholders that the model that they are working, they are using for their board approvals, do not contain any mechanical errors, and also all the inputs are in line with the project documents. Okay, so this is something that is very important. And also it is very important also to be done by an external source, okay? Because most of the time people that work for a long time with one model, they all got used to the structure. So maybe they will not be able to see, the mistakes that are contained in the model. However, although there are like many checks included and everything, however, the risk is still there, okay? That's why, having standards in a model is good, because it's going to reduce errors. However, it is still good to have an external view to check the model. Okay, so that's one thing that I just question, is about how the audit is treated, and it's just treated as another document in a checklist. The other thing about this timing, from my own experience, is that by the time you get the auditor involved, everybody is so used to that financial model that it's so difficult to make changes. It happened to me in one of my projects where I got engaged. It was in the last stages of the development. It was just 3 months down into financial close where I was engaged, and I was engaged specifically to build a parallel model, because the version of the model that was being audited, it was in the process of being audited. It has already gone through the first, or I think the second round of audit. So they asked me, at the time it was the lenders, they asked me to build another version of the model, a new complete model, so that they could do different sensitivity and Monte Carlo simulation on the financial model. So it was not possible to do it with a very complicated model with a lot of copy and paste blocks. That was the version of the model that was used by sponsors, and it was being audited. So it was not possible. So I was asked to build another model to do that assignment. And then later, that model was not audited, but it was just a model that we need to keep in line, two models together. To give you another example, I was involved in a project which was also at the latest stage, And by the time I got involved, I made my comments. The model contained a lot of like calculation blocks and inputs that were not used and were not necessary anymore. So there were many options like different accounting treatment, unnecessary worksheet within the model. So I suggested to simplify the model so that, everybody is more comfortable and it will be less risky, to work with a simplified model than a complex model, especially when the complexity is not justified. So my comment was, the answer that I received was that, because the model is in the process to be audited, and so it is not, they didn't want to make any changes to the model, because they said if they do any changes, then the auditor will require additional iteration and additional cost will be needed to cover for these additional iteration of the audit. So we had to again build another model, so that, more simplified model, so that we could, do the different sensitivity and scenario analysis on a more simplified version of the model. And this is only because we could have used that version and simplified, but we couldn't do it just because, of the audit. So that's also another problem, which I think is due to the timing that the auditors are involved, and also maybe the way that the contract with the auditor is structured, so that, any kind of the way that it's structured is that, anything, after the first round of audit, anything after that, you cannot apply any structural changes to the model. So that's maybe some of the things that can be considered when you are when you are negotiating the contract with your auditor. And also, if you don't have any strong financial modeling expertise in-house within your company, I really recommend that either you hire an external financial modeling company to do the model for you, and apart from that, start investing in someone in-house that can handle, the work. Because it's very important that you have somebody in-house within your company, because you cannot always rely on an external source to do the model for you. Because first of all, if they are not there, you will have to hire another consultant with a different, model, with a different kind of template. So it will be difficult. So I would say just build the expertise in-house, but also you can, of course, use the advisors, external advisors as well. There are many benefits to having external advisors for this kind of appraisal, because they are kind of biased against, pushing the project going forward. So of course, there are a lot of advantages, but however, having someone in-house as well is very important when it comes to financial modeling. Okay, so that's all I wanted to cover. As I said, it was just a discussion, internal discussion that I wanted to have, a chit chat with you. And if you have any comments or you want to continue on this discussion, let me know in the comments. And I also have a blog post on the same topic. Go and check it out, and hope to see you in my next video. Thank you and bye. If you want to learn how to build better financial models, check out my online course on financial model spreadsheet design at courses.phoenixmode.com.